This is class 2 of our course 1. We did our intro course, all of which are online. So if you want to go back and review, which I encourage you to, you're not behind yet, but you will be soon. So but definitely catch up if you can. Right now, no problem. Thank you, Nicole. We good? Okay, well, let's get started with metta this evening, and then I'll do my best to help you digest what you attempted to read in chapter 2, okay? And this is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm, and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove. Wishing in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another, even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child. So with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upward to the skies and downward to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness, one should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding, by not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, awakens from suffering, discovers everlasting peace. Okay, so let's just do a brief concentration meditation. So just an upright, alert, comfortable posture, making our mind serviceable. We'll just do a 21 breath meditation, which is accomplished in the reverse way that you'd probably think of it. So you exhale, and at the top of the inhalation, that'll be 1. And then all the way to 21. If you lose count, just begin again. If you get briefly sidetracked, don't worry, just pick up where you left off. Okay? So upright, please. Spine straight. Unless you're in a chair, then try not to use the back of the chair unless you have a medical need to do so. This is called the classical 7-point posture of Vairocana. So shoulders are back, resting on the shoulder blades. Raise the sternum slightly. Tuck the chin in slightly. And then your hands, either palms downward, on the knees or the thighs, or in the traditional posture of the right hand and the left hand. Thumbs together gently, just beneath the navel. The lips are slightly parted. That'll stop your mouth from drying out during the practice. And your tongue is resting naturally on the upper palate, just behind the teeth. Eyes gently closed, or hooded gaze slightly open if you're tired. Let's take a few at first, just a few long, slow, deep, luxurious breaths, all the way down to the abdomen. Breathing in, breathing out. A few more of those, making the body supple. Out of the past and future, purposefully so. And let's begin with our 21 breath count, starting now. Exhale, and the top of the inhalation will be 1. And continue, please. Three more breaths to the best of your ability. Stay with it. Excellent. All right, please relax. All right, please relax. Relax the body. So these are when you begin your practice each day. So loving kindness, and then mindfulness meditation for at least 20 minutes each day, and then a little concentration meditation. So the mindfulness meditations can be found. We'd like you to do the exact ones that we have on our intro series, so you can just recycle those practices from the intro series, which are found on our website, right there on the online learning page. They're all there for you to watch. And then this loving kindness practice that we said, this is what should be done. And you're practicing a little bit of concentration meditation there, just a 21 breath count. So just getting into this. Each week a little more deeply. Now I have my work cut out for me this evening, so have pen and paper, please. You're gonna need take lots of notes. The Dalai Lama went over an extraordinary amount of material, and I think it's impossible for me to go over this evening, but we will go over it over the course of the next 10 or 11 weeks, for sure. But I will do my best to give you the main points for tonight, the things that you really need to know. And what it is that you really need to know is rather succinct, actually. So this series, of course, is part of the 6-year training on how, this thing that we teach in the monasteries, how to become enlightened, Lamrim. And the question is, when we talk about enlightenment, I think first, probably fair to say that most people don't know what that means. They don't know what it refers to. They don't know how to get there. And there are people who've been at this for 20, 30, 40 years around Buddhism, around Hinduism, and they have an idea, like a vague sort of idea, but exactly what it is and how to get there step by step, that methodology, that's what we teach in the monastery that very few people here know what to do. And it's one of the main reasons is that if you were in India or Tibet or Thailand, as an example, you would have a teacher and they would say, you do this, then you do this, then you do this. And here you have this thing called Amazon. And you have Barnes & Noble. And you walk in and you maybe have some great interest in this, or even there are teachers around, but they teach to a certain level. And then Barnes & Noble is there. What book do you choose? And on what basis? Perhaps someone's famous name, or the color of the book, or a cool title, but what is the order? And what is enlightenment? And there are people around a long time who think enlightenment is sort of just an idea. They don't really know exactly what it is, and they don't really think it's possible anyway. It's the antithesis of what we do for the last few thousand years. We actually know what it is and we know how to get there, step by step. So that's what we're doing here. So let's start backward tonight with what the Dalai Lama taught. What is enlightenment? What's a Buddha? So let's start there. What is a Buddha? How about that? Since that's what your goal is, believe it or not, sometimes people say a path without a goal, which is nonsense. We do have a goal. The goal is to become enlightened. So a lot of great ideas are thrown out there, a lot of nice statements, like a path without a goal. Have you ever heard that before? It's not true in this tradition. We actually have a goal. We really want this for everyone. What is a Buddha? A Buddha is someone, there's a lot of different versions of this. There is nirvana, there is Buddhahood, there is natural nirvana, there's nirvana with something left over. There's so many different classifications. So I'm going to just go vague, and then over the next 12 weeks, we'll get more and more specific. How's that? All right? Enlightenment is essentially a destructive process. That's the first part of all of this. It's a destructive process. That's the first thing I want you to know. Because a lot of people say, I want to get enlightened. And so, I mean, and the belief is that some sort of self-help thing, which is, or self-improvement thing, which if I can just do this, and I can be more well-rounded, then I could get there somehow if I just had these qualities. It's not like that here. You actually lose qualities. You lose two things. So you basically, it's a matter of unveiling your actual nature. It's a matter of unveiling your actual nature. So what does a Buddha have, or what does a Buddha lose, more precisely? Loses two things exactly. Loses two things, what is referred to as Buddhahood or awakening. And they are this, Shedru and Nyundru in Tibetan. Shedru is short for Sherab. Sherab is wisdom. They have, and Dru is an obstacle. So what a Buddha has is he loses something. He loses the wisdom obstacle. He loses the wisdom obstacle. Sometimes we call knowledge obstacle. Maybe is a better translation. Knowledge obstacle. This is going to get very interesting here soon, I promise. We have to go through the sort of boring part first. But he doesn't have any knowledge obstacles. In other words, he sees things clearly. And when I say he, it could be he or she, doesn't matter. It's not gender specific. Sees things, discerns things as they actually are. And the other thing that he loses, a Buddha loses Nyundru. Nyundru is negative thoughts. And that includes speech and actions as well. No more negative, so clear view and also no more negative thought, speech, and actions. Interesting, no? And then, what does someone look like? What does someone look like? Not that you'd be able to notice them necessarily, but what does someone look like? What is someone like, who doesn't have any knowledge obstacles or any more destructive emotions and negative behaviors? What does that look like? It looks like, maybe I should write this on the board. A couple technical terms, and then we'll get into it, and then how you can do it, point blank. So it looks like this. You lose these two things. So what are they? Knowledge obstacles and so knowledge obstacles, and then we'll say ethical obstacles. How about that? In Tibetan, transliterated. I think some of you Tibetophiles out there. Shedru, Nyundru. Okay, so that's what they lose. That's what they lose. So what are they like? They're like this. They have these two things. They have, when they lose this, then this is what is unveiled. What is called, in Sanskrit, please repeat, Dharma? Kaya. Dharma Kaya. Or in Tibetan, that's the Sanskrit, this is the Tibetan if you're interested. Please repeat, Chuku? Ch is Dharma, and Ku is Kaya. And that means, literally, they have, Kaya is like form. Form or body. This is the boring part, and then we'll get into the interesting part after this, okay? So hang in there with me for just a minute. This Dharma refers to the realization of the emptiness of their mind. This is what a Buddha has. They realize as an ongoing flow the realization of the emptiness of their mind. Now, the Dalai Lama talked about emptiness in this chapter, so I'll have to also describe it in brief what that refers to, and we'll be getting deeply into that in this course. And then on this side, when they lose this, on this side, they have another body, two aspects, or another aspect of their form. And so this side was they see the emptiness of their mind, and then on this side we call the Rupakaya. Rupakaya. And this literally is their emanation form. Their emanation form. I'll explain relatively soon. Their emanation form. So like when you look down, take a look down at your own body for a second. What do you see? You see a regular person, arms, legs. Do you you think you're projecting that, or you think, no, that's really me? Just out of curiosity, how this might work. With the difference between a Buddha and you right now, perhaps, if you are who you appear to be. If you're a Buddha, my apologies. But when you look down, do you see a self? Just out of curiosity? And do you feel like your mind is over here and your body's over there? Is that kind of you? Do you think you're projecting this? Or do you think this is really a solid, this is me, and I'm just sort of here, and are you getting older? Do you see yourself, have you been watching this process getting older despite your creams and Botoxes and all of that stuff? Trying to keep it together with kale? You notice this is a failing enterprise thus far? Daniel, you get your game? Are you with me or no? You know what I'm talking about, Stan? Yeah, this is not going well. EJ is the fitness queen of Tampa. You know, she's teaching everybody. How's it going? You getting older? How much longer you got? So what about if you're really fit, though? Pardon me? What if you're really fit? Doesn't matter. Excellent. All right, just making sure you know what you're doing. That's someone who knows what they're doing. You stay fit, but you still what? You could die when. And that's the way you see yourself. Is that right? Or no? You're going down. You're getting older. You can sort of see once you hit 40, 50 especially, you can start to sense the end is coming. You know, you get 60 and then what? 70. You sense the end is coming? Joellen? You know spring chicken anymore. Yep, this ain't spring, it's not summer, probably not autumn. At least fall. All right. Is that a mean thing to say? That's how ordinary beings see themselves. You look down, except for Michael, who just came back from another trip to Peru, just did, what'd you do, a bunch of hallucinogens? Yeah. Little shaman visit, I suspect? Okay, so you probably see yourself a little differently right now. You just coming off of that still? Little, it's all right, we've all been there. Okay, but you look down and you see a physical form. Because the Buddha realizes emptiness, he doesn't see that way anymore. He looks down and what he sees is purposeful. It's a purposeful projection. And it's there for one thing. It's there to be of assistance to others. That's why he does this. This is the how he does it. Because he sees himself something like a dream. Something like a dream. And can manifest, like if you've ever done lucid dreaming, he is manifesting this body on purpose. That's the difference between enlightened and unenlightened. You're not doing this on purpose. you actually think this is what? This is who I am, and it's going in which vector? One way, and who are you primarily here for? Have you figured that out yet? Are you here for others primarily, or what's been your observation thus far? Who are you primarily concerned about in this life? And that's what we're trying to cross that hurdle. You know, because this is someone who realizes, and emptiness is a synonym for the nature of reality. So write that down. It's a synonym for the nature of reality. That realization is called tongpanyi in Tibetan. And we're going to do some meditation on it tonight, a very practical meditation I want you to do all week. You'll get it. I have a nice little exercise for you. But a Buddha is going around on purpose, showing up to be of assistance to others. When I say assistance, I don't mean like he's helping out necessarily at the food bank, helping little old ladies open doors. I mean, what a Buddha knows, he knows how to get enlightened. And he knows how to help people. Now I want you to think about that for a second, because a lot of you probably like to help people, right? What do you like to help people do? Your kids, family members, homeless people, refugees, what do you like to do? Help them achieve things. Okay, so whatever it is that you guys are doing, trying to help people, what we have to say, and this is going to be kind of a stab right now, it's literally getting them to the next round of their problems. You're just going to get it, and then they're like you, they're going to do what? They're going to die. They're going to get older, they're going to get sick, and that's, so when we talk about assistance here, we're talking about the assistance to help people see this. This is the end of all obstacles. This is the end of, in other words, the end of suffering. That is what a Buddha is up to. Literally trying to help you to stop suffering. You're trying to help people stop suffering so far, like your kids. How many of you have kids? You don't even know? If you're a guy, you say that. If you're a woman, like you generally, you know, right? Stepchildren. Okay, I see where you're going. Okay, but you get the idea? You get you're trying to help people do the best of you can, but you really don't know how to help them stop suffering. Does that make sense? You can help with the sort of the immediacy. You can try to help plan their future. Maybe, hey kid, maybe you should try this way, this way, this way. Maybe you should lift weights. Maybe you should try these different things. But does anyone here know how to help someone stop suffering for good? That's what this is. And how do they do that? First, they do this. They see this. And as a consequence, they do this. So this is a consequence of this. Do you want to do this? Do you want to see emptiness? This is what emptiness, what a Buddha sees. This is the Dharmakaya. This is where they get rid of all the knowledge obstacles and they see clearly this thing, the emptiness of their mind, which we call, please repeat, Chakya Chimpo. That's Tibetan. And so this is emptiness of their mind in Tibetan. Chakya Chimpo. And then in Sanskrit, please repeat Maha Mudra. So whenever you see me teaching these retreats called Maha Mudra, what do? You sign up for that one. That's a good answer. Okay, because that is the practices, these practices, Chakya Chimpo or Maha Mudra, those are the practices that we teach to show you how to do what? See directly the emptiness of your mind. And notice I said see what? Directly, which means that you can't read a book on this subject, or 10 books, or 100 books. Some of you are like rats, Eleanor. I know, you really won't. It's like if you could read all those books about emptiness in the library, which we have probably 1,000. And I'm sure, I think some of you have probably tried this route. How's it going? It's not going to work. Intellectual knowledge maybe accounts for about 1% of the realization. And the rest is all about, guess what? Which means meditation. Which means, and not just any kind of meditation, because there's thousands and thousands of kinds of meditations out there, as you probably know. These are very specific meditations. What kind are they called? Mahamudra. And what does Mahamudra refer to? The emptiness of your mind. All right, we good? Yeah. Okay, so this is what removes, seeing the emptiness of your mind is what removes knowledge obstacles. So now this is all the stuff the Dalai Lama was talking about in chapter 2, and I'm trying to make it simple. I don't know if this is helping. Is this helping? A little bit? This is what you do to get enlightened. What is enlightenment? These two things, Dharmakaya and Rupakaya. This is what the Buddha's mind is like, and this is how he appears. And he appears which way? On purpose. To do what? Now, you probably want to know, since you were here last week, we talked about the 3 principal paths, right? What were they? I forget. Help me out. Renunciation.
Awakening of heart and mind.
Yeah, bodhicitta, right?
And the correct view.
And the correct view. Okay. So now we can really make sense of chapter 2, what the Dalai Lama was teaching. This teaching tonight and last week go together. So how do you get rid of these things and achieve this? Through Okay, please repeat. Gewa? That means virtue in Tibetan. Gewa. And then now please repeat. Sonam? Okay, and these are really common names in Tibetan, by the way. If you ever meet Tibetan people, about half of them are named Sonam. All right, as you'll see. If you forget a Tibetan person's name, just remember this. You're probably about 50% right. Okay, right there. Seriously, it's like John or something. Except it doesn't mean John. It means merit. This is how you get this. How you get rid of ethical obstacles is by doing this. Doing acts of virtue. Doing acts of virtue. What are acts of virtue? Well, as you get deeper and deeper into this, you'll see that they look a lot like the 10 Commandments. So the non-virtues and then there are virtues. So what do you think the first non-virtue is? Take a stab. Don't kill. Easy. Take a stab at another one. Doesn't even matter if you've never been to a Buddhist class. You can almost figure it out where I'm going with this. Don't lie. What else? Steal. Covet thy neighbor's wife. How about sexual misconduct? You're starting to catch. You get this? Ill will. Sound familiar? All right. So these are how to get rid of this by keeping this, and by keeping these. And then it's not just not doing things. We have it the other way too. It's not just not doing, not just not killing. What's the opposite of what's the opposite of that? Supporting life. Supporting life. Not just not stealing, but what? Honoring other people's property. So it goes both ways in terms of acts of virtue. And we are encouraging you to do acts of virtue. Guess how often? Pretty much that's all we want you to be doing. If you're going to get enlightened, if you're going to be a Buddha, you need to accumulate acts of virtue. Now that accumulation is what we call the accumulation. All these virtues is what we refer to as merit. So again, the accumulation of virtue, basically think of the 10 virtues and the 10 non-virtues, which you can look up online if you wish, but we'll be going through those later. But I think you have a general idea. And right now, a general idea will suffice. How many of you are keeping a vow book in here, old students? Okay, so a few of you are already keeping these things. So we want you doing these and then not doing a whole bunch of other stuff. And in so doing, we call accumulating merit, or we call sonam kisop. Sonam kisop. That's sonam, then kisop. K-Y-I, transliterated, sok. T-S-O-K, like a sok offering for those of you who've been around a little bit. Okay, same one. Sok. Doing all of these things over and over again, and not doing a whole bunch of things over and over again, accumulates, this means accumulation, kisok, accumulation of merit, sonam kisok. So you want to do as much of this as you possibly can. But you also need to do a whole bunch of this, and this is called yeshe kisok. So kisok means accumulation. Can you read my writing? Yeshe means wisdom. Yeah, this is accumulation of wisdom. What is accumulation of wisdom? Doing a whole bunch of what? Meditation and study of what is this? And whatever it is you think this means in English, go ahead and just lose that from your vocabulary. Because what you mean in English and what we mean by this word, emptiness, have nothing to do with each other. Okay, so what do you think it means in English? When I say, you hear the word emptiness? Nothingness. So that's definitely not what it means. Let's lose that. What else do you hear? Like if you're in a relationship, with a guy, with a girl, you say, oh, I feel so what? Which means what? Depleted, like emotionally vacuous. Like I'm all out of love, and that's it, right? Not that I'm so lost without you. I'm done. Like I just, faded, right? Does that make sense? You know the feeling? Or you're in a job, it's like, it's the same old routine. I go to my cubicle, I stare at the screen, I input data, blah, 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 and like every day, this is my life. This job is leaving me feeling what? That has nothing to do with this. Definition, please write down. And I'll be saying these things over and over and over again for as long as you know me, I promise. Yeah. Because this term is so important. And then I'll show you exactly how to meditate on it tonight. How's that? And I'll make it really extremely practical for you. Okay? So, emptiness, definition, lack of inherent existence. Whatever it is you thought it meant, lose it. It means this, that all phenomena lack inherent existence. Sometimes you'll hear me say lacks intrinsic existence. Same thing, same exact thing. That all phenomena lack inherent existence. It's a very, very holy term because it's how you get enlightened. It's about as sacred as you can get in Buddhism. Emptiness. That all phenomena, this is what you want to realize, that all phenomena lack inherent existence. So look down again at your body. What do we say about that body? It lacks what? Now, for those of you who still think that emptiness means nothingness, look down. Do you see a body? So that's not emptiness. I say what you see is empty. Empty means what? Lacks inherent existence. And so that doesn't mean nothingness, clearly, because you're seeing something. I'm not saying what it is you're seeing just yet, but you're seeing something. That's not nothing. So it definitely doesn't mean nothingness. It just means it lacks inherent existence. So let's get into that a little bit. But first, like I said, we want to make the connection between last week and this week. I'm sorry? Oh, okay, good. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, well, I'll be turning around in just a second. Okay? So the connection between last week and this week is this. Direct connection. What is this direct connection? Renunciation. Renunciation and bodhicitta. That is the direct cause. Those two are the three principal paths from last week, renunciation and bodhicitta. Those are the principal causes for the Rupakaya, the emanation form of a Buddha's body. Yes. The connection from last week to this week's class, we talked about the three principal paths, lamso, namso. What were they again? Renunciation, bodhicitta, and correct view. So renunciation and bodhicitta are the direct causes for the Rupakaya, your future ability to do what? Project, not like now, but imagine looking down and seeing yourself as a Buddha. So go ahead and do that real quick, please. What's a Buddha look like? What does a Buddha look like? How might a Buddha appear? Again? However they project themselves. According to what? What they believe would be most helpful to other beings. Yeah. And they do it on what? Purpose. So they might show up in what guise? They might show up, let's say that you are a little haughty because of your new Buddhist practice and you think you don't have any anger, right? You're like, you're over that stupid emotion. How many of you think that? You're like, you're over it, Rose? You know, you finished, but just imagine. Go ahead and just be haughty with me. Put your nose up a little bit. Like, I'm so done with anger. You got that? Are you there? Doug, you got it? Oh, I'm so finished with that. It's so stupid. Okay, so a Buddha, imagine, would see you acting that way and might show up on a bus, right? And he might see you and sit down next to you and start doing one of these things. Let's make America great again. All right? He may start, and then he might go start nudging you a little bit, and then might start hawking and spitting on the floor. And then maybe when some African American lady gets on the bus, he might start saying what? Kind of racial things. What's happening to you right now? Do you think Buddhists show up like that? They do. They also show up as husbands. They show up as wives. How many forms can a Buddha take? Yeah. Especially, they really like to appear, in my opinion, they like to appear when people are being haughty and test them. When people are being spiritually haughty and like really see and test their mettle. So they do all kinds, you don't really know, see, that's one of the issues. You really don't know who's who. And I'll tell you one way you definitely can know. Would you like to write this one down? So you can definitely know who's who. If anyone ever says they're enlightened, that's how you know they're not. All right? It's actually, we're vowed. Anyone in the monastic vows, as tantric vows also, anyone who says they're realized or enlightened, we don't want to say that they're not, but maybe put your hands together and move backwards slowly. How's that? Good idea? Best advice I can give you right now. So anyone who says they're enlightened, just, maybe they are, but let's just back off from those people. Okay? How's that? Yeah. You don't know who's who. You don't know who's who exactly. I have a kitty who is completely attracted to me. And at any time I'm away, he starts screaming, and so that's what you're hearing in the background. Yeah, he's like a daddy's boy. So renunciation and bodhicitta, these are also, this is the accumulation of what? Another way of saying the accumulation of merit, sonam. Sonam kiso. You got that? And so take a stab from last week. What's going to be over here? What's the third path? You had renunciation, bodhicitta, so correct view. Yangdapetawa in Tibetan. Yeah. Yangdapetawa. Anyone remember the Sanskrit from last week? I forget. Oh boy. Samaditi. Okay, you got it. Come on. Yeah, I forgot for a second. You guys helped me out. Thank you. All right? All right. No problem. But the correct view. What is the correct view? The correct view of, take a stab. You got it. Yeah. So that's how last week and this week go together. So this is the three principal paths from last week. This is path what? 1. This is path 2. And this is going to be the correct view of emptiness, right? Yangdapetawa. That's going to be path 3. And that's what gives you, path 3 is what, that's what this is. So those are the three principal paths that we talked about last week. How, and of course, this is called, what's the name of this course? Everyone? Illuminating the path to enlightenment. Yeah, we are following the stages of the path. Right from the beginning in the monastery, this is what's taught. Because we want to show you, it's like, hey, there's this thing that you want to do. You want to become a what? No, what is a Buddha? And how do you get there? So now you're starting to like go, well, it sounds a little, because your first time hearing this. How many is this your first time hearing this? Good, okay. So, but you're starting to like, you're planting some seeds right now. I don't need to have, you don't need to have mastery. We're going to go over this stuff a lot. But you're planting some seeds right now going, and you do have good karma, for sure, if you're in here tonight. We're actually saying, what is a Buddha, and exactly breaking it down, and how to do it, and what it is you're going to lose in order to do this. So we're like giving you like a really good set of direction here, a good vector. Okay? So what's the main practice that we use? What's the name of it? for realizing the emptiness of the mind? Mahamudra. Sometimes Dzogchen, yeah, or Mahasandhi. But either way, it's the same thing. These are practices that point out directly what? The emptiness of the mind. So every year we do 30-day retreats on this subject. So that's mid-May every year, 30-day retreat. Sometimes we'll do a weekend retreat as an intro teaser, but 30, then I think some of you are here for, some of you are here for like 3 months. This is primarily what you're working on. You know, after you learn that retreat, you know, we give you teaching every day, step-by-step guidance, and then you come in, and then the rest of the time, you just sit and practice. And that's what leads to this. Without this, there is no such thing as enlightenment. There is no such thing as a Buddha. This is what a Buddha is. Katie? No? Okay. So, can I give you a practice to do? That'll help you? A really simple practice. I think it'll blow your mind a little bit, but I think it's worth it. Yeah? Okay. Fresh piece of paper? So, your practices you already have, your meditations for this week, now I'm giving you one more. One more. And this isn't, we call, please repeat, Che? Gom. It means analytical meditation. This one's different. This one, I want you thinking about things. Tangyam. It's a Tangyam practice. Tangyam. Tang. Same tang is in Tonglen. For those of you who've done Tonglen practice. Have you done Tonglen in here before? Okay, most of you. So that means giving, yeah, in Tibetan. But it's the same tang. In Sanskrit, upeka, but in English, plain old English, equanimity. We're going to use equanimity as a starting point, an equanimity meditation as a starting point to help you, right from the very beginning, understand what emptiness of the mind refers to. Okay? You game? And it's easy and it's fun, and I think it'll trip you up and blow your mind. What do you think?
Great.
Yeah, you game? Excited?
Yes.
Yes. Give me equanimity. All right. So we're going to make a chart that some of you have done with me before, but a nice little equanimity chart in which we're going to have some fun. So, whoops, that's a terrible line. Okay. And then okay, so make that chart first, please. And then we'll fill in the blanks. Can they see that chart online?
Not so much on Zoom.
Can we do anything about that? Okay. Can we?
It's just because it's in their reflections.
I know, but they need to see. There's a few thousand people watching. So, can they see that or no? Okay. That's your chart. Can you see that? In the top left box, physical, and right beneath the little small, what is that, a row? Small row says animal, and then beneath that says emotional, and beneath that says mental. And then the columns, like, neutral, and dislike. Can we help them to see that for a second? Yeah? Okay. So again, you want me to read it to you? Or you can all, can you read it or no? Yeah, everybody? Anybody need help? Steve?
Animal, emotional, mental.
Physical, animal, emotional, mental. Yeah. Okay? So you want to copy this, and then we're going to do one of these every day as part of your homework assignment this week, part of your meditation, to show you what emptiness of the mind looks like and how to get there using a really simple chart and a practice with it. And I think it'll really disturb you, lead to a lot of cognitive dissonance and a lot of awakening all at once. I'd like you to put in the name of someone next to like. Just someone that you like, please. You like them. Just one person. No, right up here. Just their name. And then the name of someone that you dislike. And then we'll get to this one in just a second. So name of someone you like and someone that you dislike. Okay? For those of you who are so spiritually evolved you can't think of anyone, over here on the right column, maybe someone you'd prefer not to be around as much as the other person. Okay? Okay? So maybe presidential or something. Right. Huh? It's easy, yeah. Yeah. You can put Obama, you can put whatever you want. MLK, Satan, doesn't matter. We good? Everybody got someone like and dislike? Everyone? Anyone too spiritually evolved that can't come up with anybody? I'll come and kick you if you can't. Out of compassion. We good? Okay. Neutral person. This is someone that you may be around. You see someone maybe at the bagger at the grocery store, whatever. Someone at 7-Eleven, where you get your gas. You see them, but you really don't know anything about them. Maybe they're at work and like maybe you know their name, but like I don't really know anything about this person. Neutral. Maybe they just started working there. Neutral person, please. Maybe even growing up, like this kid was like down the street. You saw him all the time, but like even all these years later, you're still like, I don't know, like beyond his name. Even his name is kind of vague. I don't know anything about this guy. You got someone? You can even put, you can't remember their name, just that guy. This is really vague. Don't put yourself in there either, please. Save that for another time. Please don't put yourself in any of these categories. Not yet. Although that's fun. Okay, we good? Everyone you got 3? Please raise your hand. I just want to just checking in. You got 3. Some of you don't know if you have 3. Okay, all right, good. All right, little 5 bullet points here. Physical characteristics, please, of all 3. All 3. If you can't come up with 5 here, that's fine, but at least 5 here and 5 here. Okay? And that can be age, height, weight, hair color, eye color, whatever. Size, weight. Yeah.
So not necessarily the qualities that you like about them, but just the qualities that they have.
Sure, or you can do qualities that you like about them too. Either way, whatever. Yeah, whatever comes to mind. Yeah, maybe the physical qualities you like about it, physical qualities you don't like over here. It's fine. But 5 qualities about the person that you like. And 5 physical qualities and 5 qualities of the person you dislike, and then some of the qualities physical of the neutral person as well. Now, I haven't told you the purpose of equanimity practice yet. Only that it's leading to what? The realization of the emptiness of the mind. And I made an extraordinary claim that through this practice, it'll help you get there. We'll see about that, right? It's a big order, a big claim I'm making. Right? And Tongyam in Tibetan. You know, we're definitely going to be equanimity. We're definitely, because Tong means giving. We're definitely going to be given something in this practice. Let's take about a minute and a half and finish up. You can make more extensive lists later, just to help you with this week's homework and how this might work. There's this box on the computer. Can they see that?
I put another Zoom camera.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay, great. Does that help? Good. Huh? Can you guys out there in internet land see everything? Just wave if you can. Can you see the board properly? One says yes, one says kinda. Can you read what's on there? Say, go like this if you can. Okay, that's mostly yes. All right, what this says, for those of you in internet land, we have a chart that says like, neutral, and dislike on top. Okay, well, I am reading it out loud, so if you're out in internet land and you're watching, I'm reading it to you. The chart on top, you got 3 columns that say like, neutral, and dislike. The rows, there's 4 of them. One says physical, right below it says animal, right below that says emotional, and right below that says mental. And your job, your task, was to put in the name of someone that you like, the name of someone you dislike on the right, in the middle, the name of a neutral person, someone you don't have enough information to like or dislike. You don't have enough information yet to like or dislike them. You got it? Okay. And then we have 5 bullet points for those of you in internet land. For the like, 5 things that you like, physical features perhaps that you like about the person that you like, and 5 physical features perhaps of the person you dislike, and a few physical features of the neutral person. We good? Okay. Here's some of the fun part now begins. When you think of these 3 people, I'd also like you to think of their spirit animal. Okay, now what that means is just, what animal comes to mind? I'm having fun with spirit animal, but what animal comes to mind when you think of this person? And it could be anything you want, an insect, fish, a bird, doesn't matter. It could be a wolf, a dung beetle, an eagle, it could do imaginary animals, unicorn, whatever. Whatever comes to mind is fine. This person reminds you of what animal? A little association. A shark, a scorpion, a boll weevil, muskrat. I'm trying to help you. Mole, muskrat, right. Maybe a gazelle, a giraffe, elephant, donkey, jackass, a jackalope. Excellent. All right. Hippo. Okay, we good? Common things that I've seen over the years. Right. Zebra. Okay, are we good? All right. Then emotional characteristics. For this side and this side, you don't really have any information to go on about this person. So we're going to leave this one blank. Let's put an NA for this, because you really don't have, you don't have anything to go on, right? You don't have enough information. So maybe 4 or 5 bullet points on the emotional for the person you like and the person you dislike. 4 or 5 bullet points there too, please. What are they emotionally like? How do they come off? Anxious, nervous, angry, sweet, calm, emotional. Yeah, body tone, emotional tone. How do they come off? Primary characteristics. Aggressive, funny, maybe bedroom. Sound like cats. Okay? Another minute. And you can put in other things over here too, you know, for physical, like sexy or ugly, whatever. You know, just you don't have to be too you don't have to be so generic, in other words. Okay? Okay. We good? Mental. Again, you have to put NA because you really don't have enough information for the neutral person to go on. But mental characteristics. That means their worldview as you see them. Are they all about themselves? Are they more about others? Are they materialists or more on the environmental side, would you say? You know, are they Democrat? What's their philosophical positions or political positions? Now, what's this person about? Are they like sort of stoic, or, you know, or would you say, you know, wear their emotions on their sleeve? How do you perceive this person's worldview? The like and the dislike, please. Magnanimous, generous, stingy. Introvert, extrovert. Subdued, flashy. What do you see? So in internet land, we're filling in the mental characteristics of the person. What are their worldview for the person you like and the person you dislike? We're leaving the neutral person blank because we don't really have enough information. We don't really know. Are they, you know, these people, are they religious? Are they spiritual? Are they crazy spiritual? I mean, crazy religious? Are they more family-oriented, or how would you describe them? No. Just another minute, please. We good? Just another minute. Now, in your homework assignment this week, you can do more people, you can do races, you can do religions, you can do corporations. Like, you know, what's your favorite corporation over here, everybody on the right? Monsanto. I mean, that's obvious, right? I mean, right, and what's the company that you like? Are there any? Patagonia, of course. Make a Patagonia. And what's over? Then you got Monsanto. What's in the middle? A neutral company. Can you think of one? I'm just saying you could do this with what? Huh? Roto-Rooter? What is it?
PETA's a good neutral.
PETA? Okay. Maybe. I don't know, right? And you got, where's Apple over here? Neutral? No? They're in the dislike now? Right? Was it ever in the like, though? What about Comcast? Everyone knows where that is. Oh, yeah. That's, yeah, right?
That's so sad.
Yeah. Okay. Verizon, Frontier, that took over from Verizon? Okay, obviously, right? Okay, but you got the idea, right? Okay, so you could do this with anything. But you could do what's over here? Buddhism. You know, what's over here? Neutral. What do you got? The Sufis. I don't know. What's over? Right.
Jainism.
The Jains. Right. I don't know anything about that. Jains. Sure. Why not? Right. And then what's over here? Oh my God! Yeah, okay. That's a lot of dislike there, Doug. Okay, and then you could even do you know toward the end of the week you could do like, right? You could look down at like things that you want about maybe a phase of your life, right? Things I like, things I'm indifferent, right? So I want you to take a look at what I just said for this. The emotion that comes with these. The emotion that comes with like is what? What do you call that?
Comfortable.
Yeah, maybe, huh? It's more than just comfortable. Huh? Attraction, right? Attractive. Then what's over here? Aversion. And this one's like this. It'll go like this. Indifference. Like, I don't, I mean, it's somewhere between apathy and indifference. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't know anything about this guy, this company. I mean, I don't know. Now, for everyone in your life, what category did they all start in? No. Think of their, but when you, yeah, everyone in your life, how did they start? I want to talk about ground zero, birth. Where do they all begin? Yeah. And then they somehow made their way where? Have you ever had anyone here that migrated to here? They started here, and they got to here, and then what? They migrated to here. And then did they ever migrate back? If you're in a marriage, this happens almost daily, right? Is that right? Everyone just sort of moves around? You guys only been married a short time, but has this happened yet, Eric? Twice in a year. Excellent. Good answer. And it was her fault when those things happened. Right. Understood. Okay. Here's the thing. What is equanimity practice meant to do? What is the tong? Tong in the tongyam. Tong means giving, like tong lin, and means giving. What we're giving away is our bias and prejudice. That's what equanimity does. It displays what our biases and prejudices are. Because if you can't recognize your biases or prejudices, then you can't do anything about them. And you can't do anything about them. You have to first recognize them. How do you recognize a bias and prejudice? Pretty easy. Largely by taking a chart before you do the meditation and filling this out. Okay? And then you're going to put this piece of paper down in front of you. This is how you do the meditation. And then, because this is just an imagination game, all right? Now, what does emptiness mean? Lack of inherent. Now, my claim is that your mind lacks any what? Inherent existence. And that's what realization is. That realization under the influence, it's the realization of the, what is realization? The realization of the emptiness of the mind under the influence of bodhicitta, under the influence of loving kindness and compassion. And this is going to play a huge role in it, believe it or not. A huge role. Because you can't get enlightened with all this stuff going on. Can't be done. You got too much, as you just said, too much what? Aversion, too much what? Attachment, and too much indifference. So you're sitting here saying these Buddhist prayers, right? Like, may all beings be happy, right? May all beings be well. May all beings attain enlightenment. Except for, guess who? Come on, everyone, look over here. I mean, we want mostly everyone to get happy. Except for what? Apparently, according to Doug, almost everyone in these religions, right? Only people in this religion. These people, we really don't care if they what? Now, do you think a Buddha thinks like that? Do you think a Buddha's like, yeah, I kind of favor, like, do you think he has like his tribe, you know, that he likes and that everyone else can just burn away or drown? Just out of curiosity. Do you think enlightened beings think like, I have a chosen people and everyone else can fry? What do you think? Come on, help me with this. What do you think? What's on your mind right now? Buddhists are like they favor some people and don't, you know, like we like the Baptists, not the Episcopalians, not so much. What do you think? We like the Buddhists, but the Hindus, right? The Sufis, but not the Wahhabis. What do you think? Remember a Buddha definition, so now we're going to bring it all together for fun. And then we can move into this exercise a little bit more deeply. What does a Buddha, they lose two things. What do they lose? Knowledge obstacles and they lose destructive emotions. They lose aversion. They lose their attachment. Oh man, how close are you to enlightenment, would you say right now? Just out of curiosity, like where are you? Would you say, looking at your chart? Knowing you the way you know you apparently. You look down. This is just 3 people. We haven't even moved into your family yet. I mean, do we even want to go there? No attachment, no aversion, no indifference. See things clearly, as they really are. Are you game, or you're like, nah, I'm gonna stick with what I got? I mean, this path to enlightenment sounds fun and all, but I gotta do what? I gotta do stuff? I gotta lose what? Attachment and aversions and indifferences? Because that's what equanimity is. The loss of, look, bias. Here. The loss of what? Prejudice. The loss of indifference. The emotions that go with each. The correct answer, bias, indifference, prejudice. You are prejudiced against these people. Look at that. You have aversion for them. Look at this. What's over here? You have what? Attachment to these. Indifference. I don't even know these people. May all beings be happy, except I don't know these people. Right? May all beings be happy, what, except for what? You know, may these guys be happy, just don't piss me off. Because you might go in this category. Is that right? Because you said that people migrate. So what could they do to? What could they do to you to move over here, everyone? What have they done? They could do what? Disagree with you, you know, about the president, right? What else could they do to like migrate over here? Steal. It's not going well. Not going well. Aversion, hatred. That is getting further from enlightenment as we speak. Okay. All right, but you got the idea? All right. So I just want to try to get your red flags, your radar up right now about like when I talk about these things in this esoteric way, you know, knowledge obstacles, ethical obstacles. I wanted to make it, you know, pragmatic for you. Are you seeing it now? Eric, you seeing it? Yeah, see where I'm going with this? You don't have to be like too bright. Exactly, that's my point. You know, if Eric can do it, then like, come on, you guys got this, right? This guy used to work for fake news. He's like, who was that? St. Petersburg. What is it? Exactly, right. You for a newspaper, right. Not Fox, so not the real thing. But you have the idea. All right, how are we going to get over this? We're going to play an emptiness of the mind game. We're going to play an emptiness of the mind game. So what you do is you put your chart in front of you, and I want you to take a look at the person that you like. And it's just for fun, you know, and I just would like you to do something. I would like you to switch out one by one, and you have to do it very slowly. You switch out these characteristics that you wrote down and replace them with these characteristics. So you hold this person, so you can't do it. You said no? I love this. Like, what's your name? Holly, and you're already shaking your head? Remember, it's a mental game, so it's not, you're not like hurting them. So unless you're like sort of like a spiritual weirdo, like you go, I can't do it because it'll hurt them really. I'm like, don't be like a weirdo.
You talked last week about putting things out into the universe. Like
No, I didn't. I've never used that term, I guarantee it. Yeah, you can go back and rewind the tape. I would never use a term like that. I don't do dolphins, rainbows, UFOs, and I don't say put out things in the universe. Okay? Yeah, never. I talked about crafting your reality, however. Okay, but this is a game, and with the intention of knowing it's a game, it's okay. All right? You're not going to like make anyone like bad by doing this. You're not that powerful yet. Okay? We want you to be powerful, but it's not happening yet. I mean, you look down and you just see a regular person right now, right? Okay, good. All right. So we just want you one by one, you can close your eyes and visualize exchanging these characteristics. And what you're going to run into right off the bat is called cognitive dissonance. Write that down. We want that. That's actually on the right track. We're trying to expose your bias and prejudice. You're having a hard time even imagining this. Like, they're not like this. This is what you say to yourself. They're not like that. I can't do it. Right, Holly? Excellent. I like Holly. Holly's like telling the truth. Everyone else is like, oh, it's so easy. I'm like, oh, okay. Sure it is. You're just going to give up all your what? You buy because it's so easy. Like, if it was so easy, you wouldn't be here. Okay? Huh? All right. Daniel, you on board? Okay, so what we're doing is we're just going to switch out characteristics, including the animal one. So what did you have over here, like gazelle? And what was over here, like dung beetle? So come on, just everything gets switched out. Yeah, you're just imagining this person. Now, go ahead and just try that for a minute. Let's take a minute and switch out. Let's take 2 minutes and see if you can put your chart down. And I want you to go ahead and visualize Now, Michael, this ought to be easy for you. You just keep coming off of psilocybin, I think, or something. What was it?
I'm just thinking, what was it taking?
Yeah. Ayahuasca, that's right. Okay, so this should be easy for you. Your pineal gland is opening, the DMT is pouring out. All right, you got this. All right. You don't have to do that anymore. This is better, is my point. Come on, one by one, stay with it. And I want you to feel that resistance called cognitive dissonance. It's like, oh man, they're not, it's like, just keep going. Just another minute. Giving the person that you formerly liked all the qualities of the person that you disliked, including physical. Tall, dark, and gruesome. Just get as far as you can. All right, now let's, a little switch here. The person that you dislike, let's go ahead and give them the qualities of the person that you liked, please, one by one. Let's take about 2 minutes on that, please. Visualize and feel. Don't try to compartmentalize it in your head. See if you can feel it. And it's really important that you're totally transparent and honest with yourself, that like you're running into some roadblocks or you're not. Okay? To, open up and admit to when there's a hook, admit to it. That's all. Just another minute. Okay, good. All right. Now, Dalai Lama talked in chapter 1 quite a bit about impermanence. And impermanence, there's gross impermanence and then there's the real impermanence. Gross impermanence are the things that everyone thinks that they know about impermanence. What does like everyone in the world know about impermanence? What's it mean? That everything what? Everything's changing. That's like a natural statement, like Emerson or Thoreau, might say something like, oh, the seasons always what? Change. I mean, this is like kiddie stuff, right? Everything constantly changes. The only constant is change. It's Heraclitus and Parmenides, pre-Socratic philosophers. That's not what we're talking about. What do the Dalai Lamas have to say about it? Dalai Lama had something a little more interesting, subtle impermanence. It has a lot to do with this. What did he have to say about impermanence? That in the moment that what? That moment that things rise, they also at the same moment do what? Dissolve. Yeah. Whatever rises, what? When? Immediately. Immediately. That whatever comes into existence immediately leaves. No time to waste. Meaning that, what he's trying to get to for you as a practitioner of this is like, what should you attach to? You know, and if you want to be, you know, if you want to suffer, then if that, you know, we're saying that's the nature of reality, that whatever comes into existence, what? Whatever rises, what? When? Immediately. So in terms of your life, you want to know this because it's a lot about your attachments that you like, you know, you have a, you know, the more, there's like an equation for it. You know, the degree to which you suffer is directly proportionate to the degree to which you resist reality. And reality in this case is impermanence. And like, so for example, all of your attachments to people, to things, it's like the Dalai Lama is saying you're like in a you're in a no-win situation here. Whatever it is you're attached to is already what? Dissolve. And it's like, and what is like this? Thoughts, emotions, material things, cells, everything is in a constant state of what? Rise and fall. And you know, if you want to have you know, a really bad case of anxiety, you know, like really try to make things stable. You know, and what do companies try to sell you on? Have you figured this out? Like, what is like one of their main things that they had? Like, they try to get your money by pretending that their products are what? Stable. Like what? Like what companies do stuff like that? Banks. Right. And like, so what are banks made out of? Just to help you. Why are they always trying to fool you? Like, what are banks like? They look like they're made out of what? Not just concrete, but what? Look outside. Look like granite blocks. Yeah, it's like they're trying to tell you this thing isn't what? Isn't going anywhere. You can trust us. That's the hook. Chevy trucks built like a what? You ever had a Chevy? Are they built like a rock? Would you say? Is that your experience of Chevys? But that's what all they say. What about Prudential, life insurance company? Built like a what? Yeah, why are they trying to, why is everyone trying to tell you that things are like a rock? Because they know you have anxiety that everything constantly what? You're scared that you can't depend on anything. And they're trying to tell you what? We are what? You ever heard this from a guy or from a girl? Especially guys. They like to look in girls' eyes and be like this. I will always what? Take care of you. I will always what? I mean, they are Prudential salespeople. They're trying to sell you a Chevy. Will that guy always be there for you? Guys, tell the truth finally. Don't be part of the Me Too thing. Come on, just say, I did it. Come on, I tried to tell a chick that I would what? That I will always be there. And is that true? And by the way, no one actually really wants you there all the time either. Just for clarity. Just seriously, just thought I'd let you in on the secret. Yeah, you're not that interesting. But you can't actually protect them, can you? And telling them that you can, are you lying? Come on, tell it, Steve. This guy's like a 20th degree black belt. I don't even know if there is such a thing, but I know he's way up there. Can you protect a girl from suffering? Can you always be there for her? Wow. You know, you know what? Yeah, exactly. He could die when, Steve? Yeah. And he could also change his mind when? Anytime. Do guys do stuff like that? What about girls? Yep. Okay. All right. Now, these people that you like, neutral, that you have bias, indifference, and prejudice for, is there anything about them that's constant? Watch what you just said. Watch what we just talked about versus what you were about to say. Is there anything about these people that are constant? Constant? Really? They're gonna what? They could die when? They could die what? Any moment. So right now, the person that you like, they're actually what? That you have bias for. They're actually what? Constantly what? So what this means to say is that you have a caricature of them in your mind. Like you have a way that you're holding them in your mind that's actually not in line with what? With reality. That everything is constantly what? You're saying, no, they're like this. That's what the Dalai Lama was getting to in chapter 1. He's like, look, come on. You got to stop because all your biases and prejudices and your indifferences are based on what? A false reality. That these people are constantly changing, but you're holding on to them like what? They're what? That this is the way they really are. But you don't really have, see, like when it comes to neutral, why are these people all these people in your life, most people on the planet for you would fall into this category, 7.7 billion humans. And most of them, you don't know them. You can't put them into it. You don't really like, you can't put them, you don't have any information on them. You don't have enough. But you believe you have enough information here, and you believe you have enough information here. And how much time, like, have you spent around them, like, you know, right now? Because you know they constantly changed. But you're like, no. They don't change that much, right? They're really this way. They're really this way. But you have to admit, they kind of moved around, didn't they? They started off here, and then they migrated where? Maybe back and forth. How many of you had a hard time putting these people and doing the switcheroo? Excellent. That's what we want. That's just a mental exercise. You're saying no. Your prejudice and bias is saying no, I can't do that because they're really this way, and this person's really that way. Because why? Because, hear it. Come on. Because I say so. Write that part down. Because I say so. Yeah. Yeah. Do you think, by the way, other people would disagree with you? Just out of curiosity. Wow, they must be what? Wrong, right? Yeah. Holly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's right.
Yeah.
Right.
What you have is right. Yeah, and everyone else is what?
They would agree with it.
Everyone?
I would imagine so. One person.
Does you think anybody could have put them in the neutral category? People who don't know anything about them?
Wait, what?
Do you think anybody would put that person that you have in the dislike category in the neutral category?
Not if they meet him.
Well, how long would, like, meet them on site and they'd be like, yep, that guy's a jerk? Like, they would know immediately.
Yeah.
What do you think prejudice and bias refers to, out of curiosity? The way things really are, or your mind, is the way that you're holding them in your mind? Do you like that? What do you think a Buddha would do that? Well, why? Why do you think a Buddha wouldn't do that? Like if a Buddha met this guy, or is it a guy or a girl?
Yeah.
If a Buddha met this guy, he'd be like, yep, that's a jerk.
In my mind, yeah.
And you'd be like high-fiving with the Buddha? And then the Buddha would say, may all beings be happy except for... Right, okay. I just wanted to be clear that we're on the same page. All right. Okay, so now equanimity practice is doing its job. It's here to uncover your what? It's here to uncover exactly what we're doing. So you're actually right on time. So thank you. No, it's here to uncover your biases and prejudice. We're here to give away tongna. We're here to give away your biases and prejudice, right, through this practice. But we haven't got there. We just switched them around. We're trying to loosen things up a little bit. We just exchanged bias and prejudices. So that can't be it, right? So let's do one more. So you put the dislike on the like, right? Now I want you to give the neutral categories to that person. Go ahead. Just take 2 minutes. Give them the neutral categories. Now, before you start, you're going to be like, wait a second, but most of the neutral is what? Perfect. Let's do that. There you go. I told you I wanted to get you to emptiness of mind, and I'm doing it. I wanted you to have a direct experience, at least a taste, of what emptiness of the mind might be like. And now we're doing it. In other words, you can't get to emptiness of mind through bias and prejudice. You're going to have to use a different gateway. The gateway to seeing emptiness directly, which is what a Buddha does. That's what realization refers to. The gateway to seeing emptiness directly is going to be what? Neutrality. It's neutrality that leads to equanimity. Always. It's the gateway. Neutrality is not equanimity, but it's the gateway. I'll show you what I mean. So go ahead and give the person... No, give the person that you like. Give them the neutral characteristics. You went from like to dislike, now go from dislike to neutral. As a meditation, please. Close your eyes and like you just don't have enough information yet. Do you see what's happening to this person? They're becoming like this. Look up here. They're becoming like a blank screen. Like, I don't know. Beyond my projections, beyond my biases and prejudices, I don't know what this person is like. Beyond my biases, I don't know. But what I can depend on is in every moment, according to Dalai Lama, which I think is basically quantum physics and every other branch of reality, right? Is that everything constantly what? But my biases and prejudices say otherwise. Everything constantly changes, but according to me, they don't. Jerks are always jerks. According to me and Holly, apparently. And me, Holly, and the Buddha she came up with. The bias Buddha. The Buddha of bias, right?
Does that mean no one is dependable ever?
Nope. Nope. Just the reverse, actually. There's something that you can depend on people for. I have to do it all the time with my counseling clients. This is why I'm the counselor I am. This is something that I do very differently, and everyone in our counseling group does very, very differently than other counselors. People come in and they say to me, watch this, all the time. Thank you for seeing me. I asked, have you seen other therapists before? And they say, sure. So I'm sorry to hear that. Because have you ever been diagnosed? They say, yeah. You ever taken medication for those diagnoses? I know something that they don't. I know something that's enduring about my clients. And it was the same thing I know something enduring about all of you. Something that I can depend on, Eric, that I can count on about all of you. Does anybody see what I'm seeing? I'm seeing your nature. You want to tell me that I've been diagnosed. I have these labels, I have these characteristics. I'm damaged goods. Other people are apparently damaged goods and catastrophes too. You know, every few years we have like a new favorite, right? New favorite diagnosis. Right now, what's the new favorite? Narcissistic sociopath. You know, apparently all of your exes were narcissists, sociopaths, right? Obviously, right. A few years ago, what were they? They were all what? Borderline too. Before that, they were bipolar. We kind of got the sort of your pop version of other people's minds, your pop psychology version. Are we clear? Okay. Here's my diagnosis for everyone in this room, and for every one of my counseling clients who comes in. My diagnosis is that there's nothing wrong with you, and I depend on that. I can count on that. That without my projecting a whole bunch of stuff onto you, that there's nothing wrong with you. And I can count on that. You asked for something reliable. That ultimately, without the biases and the prejudices that you hold about yourself and others, that what is everyone like? You want to know this because this is what a Dharmakaya looks like. I told you I was going to give you an example of all that heavy-duty technical Sanskrit and Tibetan terms, that I was going to give you a practical example of what it would look like if you were to see people as they really are. You would start here, like what you just did, and you say, you know what, I really don't know anything. So Eric, you would wake up tomorrow morning, this is Eric's wife, Linda, and you'd look at her and be like, today is what kind of day?
Neutral day.
No, you're getting close, because neutrality is a gateway. Neutrality is like indifference. So, but it's a gateway to something. A gateway to what? Equanimity. A gateway to, I want you to get this. This is going to be another synonym for emptiness. When you give away bias and prejudice, it leads to all phenomena. Look, lack what? Inherent existence. Like everyone's a blank slate. Does that mean, I'm going to ask you something, does that mean nothingness? It means that you're about, if you're not careful, you're about to do something with everybody. You're about to use your bias and prejudice and put them what? Move them away from the way they really are, and you're about to do what? Put them into a box. It's like you have this problem that a Buddha doesn't have. You want to size everybody up. You probably did it with me, I suspect. It seems like you do it with almost everyone now. And you want to put people in what? But what are people without you saying, not just your version, but what are they really like, beyond what you have to say. Like every client who comes in, they want to tell me, I'm this, I'm that, I've been labeled, I'm diagnosed, and I'm like, everything's fine. Everything's just fine. In fact, not just fine, everything is perfect. And you're going to hear me say this a lot, that everybody, this doesn't mean nothingness, it means the opposite, Eric. Think pure potential. This term is what we call, last term for tonight, this is what we mean by what's called Buddha nature, right here. This is the nature, like, emptiness is not like a blankness, like nothingness. It's a blankness like, hey, go like this for a second, go like this. Think of your mind like an Etch-a-Sketch for a second. You guys know what Etch-a-Sketch is? That little, okay, you got all these ideas about people. Look, now go like this, about the people that you like and dislike, go like this. You think you know them, but you know that that doesn't match with impermanence and emptiness right now. So go like this, Etch-a-Sketch. Let it go and come here with me. That doesn't mean indifference. It means this person, what they're going to be, is exactly up to, this person is going to be how you, what? How you view them. And well, it's going to be how you perceive them according to your view, according to your correct view. That's what people are going to be. And that's, you know what? That's what people are. And that's what they've always been. And we're just exposing that right now. And you're like, no, 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 this is you. No, 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 they really are that way. And you are what we call over here, you're called a negative scorekeeper. You remember what? And you have created a very negative caricature, a negative cartoon person. And this person's not like that. Everything constantly what? So they're definitely not the way that you say they are. You got that? But you remember, you're like, no, 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 they did this, they hurt me, they hurt someone I love, they hurt the environment, they hurt the country. This is the way they are. And I'm what? And this is how you know you're wrong. It's because you say you're what? Right. That's how you know you're wrong. Okay, this is how people are. Without your bias and prejudice, you need to come with, we call this I don't know mind. I don't know. There's a humility, like I don't know, because everything's constantly changing. Then it means I don't really, in this moment, I actually don't know what? But we can't do, but you don't do that. You go like this. No, no, no. My Etch-a-Sketch is what? They are bad. And not only that, but you give yourself imaginary, magical powers. Like, how many of you can feel their vibe over here? Oh, yeah. You can feel their energy? Because you have special, you're special. Like you went to Hogwarts and, come on. You play Quidditch, I mean, come on. You're good at this. Remember all the people that you dislike, some of them were in the light category? What happened to your vibe detection system that day? Was it like a little off? In fact, when you take a look at your relationship history, would you say your vibe detection system sucks? Like pretty much not dependable. Like you suck at this, actually. You're horrible. You're a terrible vibe detector, admit it. Look at your relationship history. And you're like, no, 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 I'm right. I have incredible intuition. I'm like a relationship Nostradamus. Except I'm not. Except you suck at it. You just have lots of what? You went full bias when you met them. Oh my God, he's so hot. He's like, you got butterflies? And what else? He's the what? Say it. Oh, of course he is. And then he became what? Another one. I mean, you suck at this game of vibe detection. Admit it. You're terrible at it. And you think you have magical powers, don't you, Daniel? You can tell when you walk into a room, like, who's a good guy and who's a bad guy. Who's a good guy with a gun in here? Just so we know. Daniel, let's check him out. Just with your mind.
Who's got a gun?
No, who's the good guy with a gun? Yeah, because that's one of my favorites. Who's the bad guy with a gun? I mean, you're terrible at this. Admit it. You don't know. But what you do know is you have lots of what? Interesting projections about other people. That's what you do know. And how many of those projections are accurate? That's because everything's constantly changing. You now have an answer to that. When everything's constantly changing, how accurate are your former projections? I mean, it's just a logical question. It's a spiritual question, deeply spiritual. Because you are holding people according to your past projections and everything is constantly changed, then this is what they're like now. They're what? They're blank, neutral. Now, that you could go like this, well, that's indifference. But with intelligence, here's the difference between neutrality and equanimity. With intelligence, we call it discerning wisdom. What is a person? They're about to be what I what? How I form them, how I think of them. And that's all that they're going to be. And that's why, by the way, other people disagree with you so often. You know, when you're by the water cooler at the office and you're like, oh my God, the boss is such a jerk. And the other person looks at you like, I don't think so. Then you're like this. And you don't talk to that person anymore. Because you're full of wisdom, apparently. You call it wisdom, we call it shit. Right? We're like, come on. It's just straight up. So all week, what I want you to do as a homework assignment is I want you to get to the lack of inherent existence about people. People that you like, people that you dislike. Now, and then bring everybody, just like we did tonight, to neutrality. Start with people, and then do it with who? You could do politicians, which I think is a really good idea for you this year. Let's start this year differently. So politicians, come on, you have an idea? You spend a lot of time with some biases and prejudices, don't you think? Can we change it up a little bit? How would a Buddha do it? Probably something like this. You want Gewa, you want to accumulate virtue, don't you? Don't you want to be a Buddha? Or you're like, nope, I would be a Buddha, but I really want to just stay in my prejudices. You're here on a path to enlightenment. You have to, it's filled with conflict. This is a good spiritual conflict for you. So do people, politicians, religions, corporations, wherever it is that you're stuck. You're like, oh, I like this, I don't like that. That's fuel for us. All of those conflicts are fuel for enlightenment. We good? You got it? We want conflict. It's the conflict. You need samsara for nirvana. Samsara is our jet fuel to get enlightened. Without samsara, there is no nirvana. You need this. You need samsara. It's vital. You need it. All right? So, how are you going to, what's a Buddha? And just review quickly. What's a Buddha? Is someone who what? They lose two things. And what's a wisdom obstacle? You can see it over here. Is thinking that you're right about what? That your thoughts, my thoughts are what? Equal what? Truth. Right? That's a wisdom obstacle, which is called what? Arrogance. Hubris. I think, therefore, I'm what? Right. Cogito ergo asshole in Latin. Right? I think, therefore, I'm right. That's basically you. Right? Until you become a Buddhist. Like, I have thoughts, I think, therefore I'm right. That's what we want to lose. Right? The Buddha's like, no. No. I have thoughts, therefore I project. And if you know what you're doing, you don't just project blindly, which is called karma. You can manifest. You can manifest. And that's what, of course, we want to show you how to do, where you can look down and you literally be a manifest enlightened being. A nirmanakaya, or we call a rupakaya. You can do this. There's nothing stopping you, but what's stopping you? You have to unveil two things. Knowledge obstacles and the ethical, the destructive emotion obstacles that come with this. And you can really think of the other obstacle as destructive emotion obstacle. It's because when you have bias and prejudice, look what happens to your destructive emotions. It's not that you just have bias. What else comes up? Or prejudice against these people. What emotion comes with it? Anger, arrogance. I mean, all this destructive stuff comes with this. That's what a Buddha doesn't do. No anger. And why? Because he doesn't project onto people. Doesn't project all these stories and believe them to be true. It's really important. All right. So how are you going to get there? You want to accumulate, whenever you do have thoughts like this, you want to catch yourself. These are the kind of things we talk about as 10 non-virtues. Don't gossip about people. Don't what? Don't lie. No harsh speech. Don't deceive. No forked tongue. You're like saying one thing in front of them, another thing behind their back. It's all these things. It's like you're crafting these people, out of bias and prejudice. And what are they really like? If everything's changing from moment to moment, they're really what? They're empty. They don't have any inherent existence. So you ask for something, Eric, you ask for something enduring about a person. There's your answer. What's enduring about a person? What's their nature? And they have pure what? Everyone is what? When everything's constantly changing, that means everyone is what? Not just subject to change, but their potential. Everyone is. Like when I teach in a prison, if I go teach in a prison, like when I was a monk in Buena Vista, Colorado, maximum security, I'd go in there and like all these people have been convicted by the state of Colorado, by the United States versus America versus so-and-so, and they're convicted rapists, murderers, car thieves, drug abusers, I mean, you name it, they're in there. What do I go in like? Do I have prejudice versus everyone? This is a bad guy? And they're even like whistling at me. I'm wearing a skirt in a prison. I want to do this to you. Hey, beautiful. Like, wow, really? Okay, not today, maybe another time, right? So I have to go in there like what? If I'm going to help people, can I go in with prejudice? I have to go in like this. And what if I told you I don't have to fight it? Would you believe me if I told you can accumulate so much wisdom and you can accumulate so much virtue that it never even occurs to you to look at somebody ever again with bias and prejudice? Could you imagine? Because I wanted you to get that last definition tonight. What accumulation, kiso, refers to. That you could do so much of this practice that whenever you meet someone, that you greet them as pure potential. No matter what anyone else has to say about them. No matter what you may have previously thought about them. It's like fresh start. Every morning, Eric, when you wake up with Linda, it's like, who is this? I can't wait to find out. Because the person she was yesterday is not the what? Not the person she is today. That's what you can depend on. And every time you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, here's old Linda, fuddy-duddy Linda. That's your what? That's your prejudice. Being literally directed at your wife. But if you wake up every morning, like I wake up every morning, I'm looking at this woman, I'm like going, today's going to be an interesting day. Because I have no idea when. I have no idea, but I can't wait to find out. And it's very fresh, and we say like the way a child would enter into a shrine, like they've never been there before. They go in with wonderment, with everything. Like the way you touch a blade of grass when you're a kid. Like right now you touch a blade of grass, you're like, yeah, been there, done that. But how's a kid touch a blade of grass when you're 3 years old? Like it's the coolest thing, what? Like you're there again. I want to give you sort of some idea about what this is like to keep people in a state of equanimity, to hold people in equanimity without bias and prejudice, to let go, to give away, tongyam, to give away your bias and prejudice. What's it like to be there? For them again and again with I don't know mind. I don't know. I don't know. I know what they're going to be is the way I went. So whose interest is it, by the way, speaking of virtuous actions, whose interest is it in for you to look at everyone in the best possible light? And again, as the Dalai Lama says, enlightened self-interest. This is in my interest to do this. And by doing so, I will become a Buddha. I will gain the emptiness of mind, Dharmakaya. And then I will also be able to look down and see not just other people the way I want, but I can also look down and what? See myself. This is Rupakaya. I can make myself a Buddha. Because why? I am what I what? Project myself without bias and prejudice. And what is the number one best way to see myself as? Well, as a Buddha. As a Buddha. So, that is a summation of chapter 2 for you. Okay? That's the highlights of chapter 2. So, before we go, questions? Yeah, Daniel?
Are we supposed to be reading a book or something?
It is, yeah, it's free, it's online, it's been every, probably 4 or 5 times a week we put it out there. So online, email, we do blasters, but it is there, Daniel. If you'll check any one of these things, it's a free online book called Illuminating the Path to Enlightenment. But I thank you, we actually planned, Daniel and I planned that question before class. So thank you for helping all of us. Yeah, but Daniel already knew the answer. So yes, the book is online, it's free. You can also order it, I think, for $1, Nancy, on, yeah, on what? iBooks for $1. Yeah, or you can just read it for free. So, commentary by the Dalai Lama on the 1,000-year-old text by Atisha. Okay? And then questions How do I do? I press the button?
Just ask them and they can unmute themselves.
Oh, just if you have a question in internet land, then just press the button and unmute yourself. I'll take a few questions from internet land, if you have any. And we can all hear you out there when you ask a question. I don't know if they have. There's a lot of people there. Okay. Can you try? Can you? Yeah. Go ahead. One person. Yeah. Go.
It's Joelle.
Hi, Joelle.
Hi. Dovetailing off of last week when we were talking about renunciation and relationships that no longer serve us. How do we reconcile the relationships that no longer serve us with what you're teaching tonight in terms of continuing to just give endless chances, I guess, over and over again when someone maybe continuously hurts you, even if you try to step back and...
Excellent question. I got it. Okay, so did everybody hear the question out there? No. Joelle wants to know, how do you reconcile last week when I said, you know, if you find yourself in a situation, you know, with regard to renunciation over and over again, that's perhaps even abusive, physically, emotionally, financially, or, you know, it's just time to move on. How do you reconcile that with this class which says, you know, you can change the way you see someone when you drop your bias and prejudice? And perhaps you could even, do I have your question right, Joelle? Yeah?
No,
okay.
You're right.
Okay. So here's how to reconcile that. You have several different routes. So, and I think almost everyone in here has been in this position, correct? Like, should I stay or should I go? It's basically the Clash song. Is that right? That's really what this boils down to, except it's the renunciation or the equanimity version of it. Okay. So here's the right way to understand that. If you are to depart a situation ever, and you guys can go ahead and just hit your mute button for now, because we can. Here's how to bring this together in your practice. If you are to depart a situation, or depart a person, you know, leave a relationship, never ever blame them, because that's not the right view. Never blame them, and also don't blame yourself either. So let's get rid of the blame game. So if you're ever in a situation and does a Buddha leave a relationship? In other words, you know, does enlightened being in a relationship? Could he leave a relationship? Could probably leave intimately, but would never leave the relationship. Would never ever give up on anyone. So I'm trying to give you. I want to give you a heads up with all of this. You could leave a situation, but that doesn't mean you ever give up on someone. And I think it's really important to hold this. And the situation that you're leaving is not the situation out there independent of your mind. What you are saying is, I'm not strong enough yet in my practice. Write this part down. I'm not yet strong enough in my practice to remain here without bias, without falling into bias or prejudice. I'm not strong enough. And that's not blame. That's recognition. That's not blaming yourself. That's recognition. But you're also definitely not what? Blaming the other person. And that even includes, by the way, physical violence. Yeah. And also, in cases of physical violence and other abuses, it's also not wise for you to stay in a situation like that, because that is giving the other person an opportunity to accumulate non-virtue. Remove themselves, take away the cause of enlightenment because you decide to stay there, you know, and keep subjecting yourself to these things. So not only are you hurting yourself, you're hurting them by staying in this situation. Okay? So there's two very, you know, different ways to look at this. But should you remove yourself from situations like this? Yes. For which two reasons? One is what? You're not ready in terms of with regard to the strength of your practice to remain in that situation, and B, also to not allow the other person to accumulate non-virtue. Yeah. So this is how we look at these things. So no contradiction. In both cases, you're still what? You're still doing your practice. You're admitting to where you are in your practice, like we did tonight. A lot of it was just coming to terms with, hey, I'm not there yet. I'm not enlightened. I have a lot of what? Bias and prejudice. So a lot of it comes down to humility, but we are under no circumstances are we recommending that you just stay in a situation where you consistently lose your mindfulness and you just keep falling and falling. And just because you're like, if I were a better practitioner, I would be able to see them differently. Admit, if you're not there, you're not there. It's okay. Yeah. That's all. And truly, another person, believe it or not, you may consider it the most toxic, think about it for a second. You may consider that the most toxic relationship you've ever been in. You ever been in one of those? The most toxic person. And have you ever been surprised to find out that that person ended up with another person happily? Have you ever heard of a situation like that? Or been in that situation yourself where you're like, that is, and you thought to yourself, that is the worst person ever. They are toxic. Or maybe this relationship is toxic, they're toxic, and then you break up, and then you get to find out that this person moved on with their life and met someone, and they're like happy and well adjusted and well, and you're like, what does that leave you feeling when that happens? What I would like you to be able to say is what? I'm really what? I'm happy for that person. Yeah, that person, I'm not toxic, that person's not toxic, but right now, at that particular point, my practice was not what? Yeah, it was not strong enough, yeah. And it was also beneficial for me to leave for myself, because my practice was going downhill around this person, and also because what? By being that, it also allowed that other person to what? Say all kinds of things, do all kinds of things, and I didn't want to be part of their accumulation of what? Non-virtue. Yeah, that's the correct understanding. Is that good?
That's great, thank you.
You're welcome, yeah. What else out there? Yeah. What else? Anyone?
Michael, this is Jenny. Hi.
Hi, Jenny. No.
When you were talking about the two things that are revealed to the Buddha, when you talked about Rupakaya, I really only got that as an emanation form.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about that more, or will you talk about that more?
I'll talk about it more. There's more parts to it. You know, ultimately, the Rupakaya has two parts. The Nirmanakaya and the Sambhogakaya is divided like that. And when you put it all together, there's four parts. There's the Dharmakaya, right? The Sambhogakaya, Nirmanakaya, and put it all together called the Swabhavikakaya. So did you get that? Okay, we'll do that later. All right, so 4 kayas. Actually, there's 11 total, the way, depending on how you put them together. But we're not going to do all the 11 kayas tonight. I don't think that's a good idea. What do you think? Okay, good. Yeah, but yes, there's a lot more. But traditionally, when we first start to teach this, we just break it into 2. Okay, so we have the Dharmakaya and the Rupakaya, and that's it. So look at what I'm doing. I know a lot of you are taking this for teacher training. So you could go off the deep end, like, oh my God, how deep should I go? I'm only going how deep? Just this much. And then I explained what exactly is a Rupakaya, and what exactly is a Dharmakaya, and exactly what does that mean and how to get there, exactly what to do. That made it where everyone in this room can go, oh, basically what I really need to be working on is what? Accumulating merit, which is virtue, and what? Accumulating wisdom, which is what? Your understanding of emptiness. How's that for short order simplicity? Should I say that one more time? Just so you get like summation of tonight. If I want to be a Buddha, and what is a Buddha? Someone who has what? A Rupakaya and a Dharmakaya. Yeah. And a Dharmakaya is what? The emptiness, sees the emptiness of their mind. Yeah. And a Rupakaya is their emanation form. And how do you get those two? How do you get the Dharmakaya? By seeing what? Emptiness. By accumulating wisdom. Yeah, which is from last week, what? The accumulation of the correct view. The accumulation of the correct view. All right? And then, on the other side, how do you get a Rupakaya? You what? Collect, yeah, virtue, yeah. Accumulate merit. That's it. So this is the path to enlightenment, you know, and we are just like, and believe it or not, this is, I think, the most difficult class in all the classes that we have in this 12 weeks. So if you need to watch this one or read the class notes will be up by what, Friday? A couple days or so, yeah, depending on Joellen. But if you take a look at the class notes, you can watch the video. We'll have it up quickly. But over and over again, you know, like these are the main elements, and you don't need to master this subject by next week. We're going to have the quizzes, of course, online for you, the class notes, the homeworks, all of that stuff will be there. But don't have the sense that you need to master this by next week, because I'll be talking about these things many, many more times over the next few years. And this will be, believe it or not, this will become like second language to you. Right now you're like, no, it's not. But it will, I promise. Everyone I've known, we've done this training so many times now. I think I've taught this 8 times, maybe more, because we did it every class in Colorado. I went around to each place, so 7, again, so this is the 9th time that I've taught this. And I promise everyone who goes through this, it just becomes like second nature. And then you'll remember the order, you'll have all your notes, so please take good notes. And then when you go to teach the subject, you'll know how to teach other people how to get enlightened. And that's really the way. And I want to leave you with this, with regard to renunciation. I think, and loving kindness, bodhicitta. I think it's really important that you recognize you're in trouble. And I think that's the main obstacle. I was talking to Joellen about this earlier. I think the main problem is people don't recognize that they're in trouble. That's you. And what I mean is that, like, you have an opportunity to gain enlightenment, and it can be over when? You know, really any time. You know, you can die any time. And you don't know how to get enlightened. That's what we're working on. So you don't have to go through this ever again. You know, lose all these people, go through all these experiences, ups and downs. This isn't necessary, believe it or not. There is this thing, you know, called Dharmakaya and Rupakaya. It's for real. You know, you can do this. And if you don't know how to do it, or if you don't even know what it is, this is sort of this vague idea of enlightenment, then you're in trouble. It means that basically what you're going to try to do is, you're going to do what you can in this life. You're going to try to make it a good life. You know, you're going to try to, like, basically be around people you like, try to avoid people you don't, right? Try to get what you want, try to avoid losing what you have. Is that about it? Try to get some pleasure, try to avoid some pain, try to get a good reputation, try to avoid a bad one. Does that sound about right? You can waste your life that way. That's called, that kind of life, which sounds like a normal life for most people, that's what I'm defining as trouble right now. You want to have renunciation for that kind of life. This is what it's all about. It's about waking up from suffering, not finding the best suffering in this realm. That's not what it's about. And if you don't see that you're in trouble, that's renunciation, is to see that you're in trouble and that you want to get out of it. And now that you're like, your antennas are up and going, is this really how to do this? And I'm like, this is exactly how to do this for the last few thousand years. Like, we're not missing a beat here. You know, you're like, you know, reading the Dalai Lama's text and you're getting a very modern, you know, way to present this, you know, that's made easy for you, or easier. You still have to work at it, obviously, even though it's maybe a little confusing tonight. But you can do this. I'm quite confident. But you're in trouble, for sure. And if you don't see that you're in trouble, then you really will never have compassion. Not in a deep way. You'll have the kind of compassion where you try to help someone, you know, get to the next trouble, basically. You get them some money, you get them some advice. This includes your own kids. But the way that you're in trouble, they're in trouble too. And if you don't know how to get enlightened and how to stop suffering, then you really don't know how to help other people to get out of trouble either. Does that make sense? You're just going to try to get them, you know, to the next trouble and then help them when they get there, which is very sweet and it's better than the alternative. But it's not what we're working on. We're working on renunciation and bodhicitta and correct view. So I wanted to give you a really good example tonight about how to make this practical for you, what you can do every day to start accumulating wisdom. And what you can also do is when you have these ideas come up off the cushion that people are what? Good people or bad people, or that you have some sort of vibe detection, which a lot of people tell me these days. I can feel their vibe and energy and these things. I want you to start to humble yourself, please, and stop with this stuff and start to let go and catch yourself. And here's what I recommend. A little smile of humility going, I am projecting a whole bunch of stuff onto people. And I really need to what? Take a step back and take a deep breath in and exhale and let go of these negative associations and stop building people up. And also stop attaching to people this way too. It's not in your interest. Where there is bias, there is prejudice. Where we want to keep people, and it's really in your best interest, is every time you meet someone. You know, every time I see Marvin, I want to like, you know, everything, I don't care about the good stuff or the bad stuff. I put it all aside and go like, hey, every time I see him, he's in which box? The pure potential box, not neutral box, pure potential box. By going, hey, we start again, we start again, we start again. You know, it's like, I don't know, I only know how I perceive them to be in the past. I can imagine how I want them to be in the future, which is how do I want to imagine all people to be in the future? I want them to be Buddhas, yeah. That I can see everyone in here. When you look around the room, do you see future Buddhas or no? Take a look around. I just want to know if you've got this down. Can you see future Buddhas, or do you see like just a bunch of hairy people? Hairy white people, basically. What do you see? I see Buddhas. You know, like that, what's that movie where he sees I see dead people? We don't want that. He's like, you want to look around like, I see Buddhas. I wouldn't be here if I didn't. If I saw you as normal people, then I can't see you as enlightened. I keep you in which category? Your potential. And that's the best way to meet people. Yeah, absolutely. It's in your interest to do so. All right, so let's dedicate the merit. And by this merit, may all obtain omniscience, may it defeat the enemy, wrongdoing, from the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of samsara. May I free all beings. Okay, beautiful. So please read through chapter 2 for next week. Actually, read through chapter 3. It gets much easier from here, I promise. This was the hardest class there is for this series. So try to review it if you can. Class notes, watch the class again. It's online. And we'll see you next week. Thank you so much.